Hey everyone, how you all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it would be super fun to share all of my favorite audiobooks with you. So I'm a huge fan of listening to audiobooks, and sometimes some audiobooks are just so spectacular, and there are even some where I would prefer to listen to the audiobook than read the book physically. So I've compiled a list of some of my favorite audiobooks, and I'm going to share them all with you today, and I'm so excited. So this first bout of audiobooks are all done by my favorite audiobook narrator, Rebecca Soler. I don't honestly know most audiobook narrators by name, and I don't really pay attention to it all that much, but for some reason Rebecca Soler has me in a chokehold. I love her. I love how she narrates audiobooks. So quite a few of my favorites are narrated by Rebecca Soler. So I thought we would just talk about them all here at the beginning in one fell swoop because they are my ultimate favorites. So the first ones I want to talk about are literally any Marissa Meer books. So we have the Lunar Chronicles. I love the way that she voices the characters in these books. Also Heartless. I think this one is particularly whimsical and beautiful. I love the way she narrates all the different characters in this as well. I find that she just has such a knack at capturing character voices and really bringing the characters to life. So I think the only Marissa Meer books I've listened to as audio are the Lunar Chronicles books, Heartless, and I think Instant Karma. Did I listen to Gilded? I might have listened to Gilded as well when I reread it. I just love the way that she narrates these books. They feel super immersive. She captures the tone of the story of the characters so incredibly well, and I just find them to be really captivating listens. So if you're looking to reread these books, if you've already read them and you want to experience them in a bit of a different way, I really recommend these audiobooks. Or if you've never read one of these books before and you're looking for an audiobook to listen to, then I definitely recommend them as well. They're just so incredibly well done. The Carrie and Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. I love these two series. They're both really whimsical and really fun and interesting. I love the characters. Sometimes they can be a little annoying, especially in the Carrie series. I do think I prefer overall the Once Upon a Broken Heart series just because it follows Jax, who is my favorite character from Carrie, and Rebecca Soler just does such a good job narrating these books. Again, the whimsy is there. She captures the character voices so incredibly well, and they just feel so immersive. I feel like I'm there with the characters following their story. I will say that the final Once Upon a Broken Heart audiobook is my least favorite because it's multi-POV, so we're not only following Evangeline, we're also following Jax and Apollo, and I don't love the narrator for those characters. You may feel differently, but I personally did not love his narration style, but I love the Rebecca Soler parts of them. So overall I do really love these audiobooks. Like I said, I just love Rebecca Soler, and if she narrates an audiobook, I'm gonna want to listen to it. So the next ones are the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Man Galco. It's been a little while since I've listened to these books, but this series is kind of like a historical mystery series. The first book is following, oh my god, what's the main character's name? Audrey Rose. Yeah. So the first book is following our main character, Audrey Rose, and she's kind of following in her uncle's footsteps of becoming a mortician? Is that the term? She inspects dead bodies, cadavers and stuff. And obviously in the Victorian times, that's a very unusual job for a woman to have, but it's just so interesting, and I'm so into those creepy kind of vibes. So I loved all the explorations of them inspecting these cadavers. So just the book series in general is really, really good, but I listened to them as audiobooks and they were fantastic. The vibes, immaculate. I feel like it was creepy and beautiful and really immersive, and I feel like the narrator just really fit the vibe as well. But these books are just so addictive. I remember kind of listening to the first book on a whim because it was available, and I never really had expressed interest in reading these books before, but I saw that it was there. I listened to it, and I'm pretty sure I listened to it in one sitting. I was doing my bullet journal while I was listening, and the second that I finished it, I saw that the second book was available, and I immediately started listening to that as well. I'm pretty sure I also listened to that in one sitting, and then I had to wait an agonizing few weeks for the third and fourth books, and it was painful. These characters were all I was thinking of. All I wanted to do was finish listening to this series. So if you love a good mystery, I just realized I didn't finish explaining what the book's about. In the first book, basically Audrey and Thomas Cresswell, who's also an apprentice for her uncle working on cadavers, they end up investigating Jack the Ripper. It's a really interesting series. Each one kind of follows a different mystery. Yeah, so if you're looking for a good fun mystery with an incredible romance, really great narrator, perfect mystery fall vibes, I recommend this series. It's just so good. The next series is very similar to Stalking Jack the Ripper in vibes, in terms of it's like a mystery, kind of more historical. It's from 1920s New York, and just like those like really good vibes, you know, those good like creepy kind of vibes. And that's The Diviners by Libba Bray. So I don't really know how to describe this series because it's been a while since I've talked about it, but it is set in 1920s New York. It deals with the occult and like supernatural things, so there's a lot of like ghosts and just a lot of like mystical, like supernatural, paranormal things. But I really loved the narrator for this series, and it just had such a good, fun, creepy, atmospheric production. There's this whole part in the first book with the like main antagonist, I guess. Was his name Dirty John? Or Creepy John? Dirty John? I don't know, but he sang this creepy, haunting song, and I don't get spooked easily, but I was listening to this audiobook like late at night, and I'm not gonna lie, the way the narrator sings this creepy little song, it got to me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, and that's quite impressive. It's just a really fun, interesting series, and again, the vibes of the audiobook were fun and creepy and very atmospheric. The next audiobooks are ones that I again haven't listened to in a very long time, so I feel like I don't remember them super well, but it's the Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafi. I just remember really loving the way that the narrator captured the characters' voices, particularly Kenji. It was stunning. Like, I felt like it was Kenji talking to me. I only listened to the first 3 books, so I cannot speak on the later books where you get the narrator for Warner and Kenji, so I can really only speak on the first 3 books where we have the narrator for Juliet. Yeah, I just remember it being a really fun and compelling listen. Obviously, I love these books, so I'm a bit biased in terms of the story, but I just feel like the narrator really captured the character voices. Like, sometimes I'll listen to an audiobook for a series or book that I love and I've never listened to the audiobook before, and it's a very jarring experience because the characters don't sound like how I envisioned them sounding. I had this experience when I listened to The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. Did not enjoy that audiobook. But this one, it felt like the narrator like went into my head and like just extracted how I like voiced the characters in my own head and did it in the audiobook. It was a surreal and magical experience. I just think the narrator did such a beautiful job, at least on the first 3 books. Like I said, I did not listen to the back half of the series as audio, so I can't speak on that, but I really thoroughly enjoyed the first 3 books. This next one I need to re-listen to at some point because it was just that good, and it's Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. So this is the kind of prequel story to The Hate You Give, all about Star's dad Maverick. I remember I was doing a lot of like household chores. I was like sweeping and vacuuming. I was like doing a lot of cleaning things, and so I was listening to the audiobook while I was just like going around the house and cleaning, and I was so invested in this book and so immersed in the story because this narrator captured Maverick's voice so well that honestly I didn't even feel like I was listening to an audiobook. I felt like I was just listening to somebody talking. Like, okay, I think the best way I can like describe it is if you've ever listened to a memoir that is like actually narrated by the celebrity, that's what it sounded like. Like, this narrator sounded like he was Maverick. Like, in my head, he was Maverick. He was not an audiobook narrator just voicing a character. He was the character. That's like the best way that I can describe it. Like, he just captured the voice and the essence of Maverick so well, and the way he told the story was just so incredibly compelling. And now I'm so interested to see if like it's the same for Angie Thomas's other books, like if they also have really compelling narrators who just sound like the characters, because this one was insane. Like, it was so incredibly good. So I highly recommend listening to this audiobook, whether you've read the book before or not. It is stunning. Like, it actually blew me away, and like still to this day it's one of those audiobooks that I think about and I'm just like, that was a crazy experience. The next ones I feel like everybody talks about and everybody recommends if they like these books, and it's The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I'm sure you guys all know what Evelyn Hugo is about, but it is told in like this interview format, and it really feels like you're listening to an interview. I've never read this book physically, so I don't know how that experience is, but listening to it was so immersive and wild because it really did feel like you were listening to an interview. I believe there was a narrator for the interviewer and a narrator for Evelyn Hugo, like telling her story, and it was so immersive. I know I've said that word a million times in this video, but like that's just the true test of a good audiobook, is if you're like fully immersed in the story. And this one really felt like I was listening to a celebrity giving an interview of a tell-all of their life. It was absolutely incredible. Like I remember just lying down in my bed listening to it with the lights off and like slow dramatic tears falling down my face because I was just so in the story and it affected me so deeply while I was listening to it. And I think that is such a testament specifically to this audiobook and how it was produced and how it was made. It was just, like I said, really immersive. I'm sorry that I keep using that word, but it was really, really good. And then we have Daisy Jones and the Six, which is a full cast audiobook, and it's another kind of like interview format. And I think that is something that Taylor Jenkins Reid really excels at, but this didn't even feel like a book. Again, it really felt like I was just like listening to a transcript, I guess, of an interview. All the character voices were done so well. They felt like real people. Like I really enjoyed it. And these ones I feel like are obvious choices. I feel like everybody recommends these books, but I highly enjoyed them. And then the last audiobooks that I want to talk about are the A Good Girl's Guide to a Murder series by Holly Jackson. In the first book we have, I believe, like interviews and voice memos made by the main character, and the way that it's produced, it really sounds like we're listening to like voice recordings of things, and it just really like immerses you in the story, and it just really feels like you're listening to these recordings. And then in the second book, our main character Pippa has a podcast, and so we get that element as well with the amazing production. I don't know who the main narrator is, but she did an incredible job, and I can definitely see myself revisiting these audiobooks in the future. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite audiobook is. I would really love to know. And also let me know if you've enjoyed any of the audiobooks that I talked about today. I would also love to know. Subscribe if you've not yet already, and I will see you guys next time.